You're sitting in a crowded conference room. Around you, colleagues are firing off questions, trading ideas, and asking for input without a second thought. But you're quiet. You are completely overloaded, drowning in deadlines. Yet you sit there watching them collaborate with an ease that feels entirely foreign to you. You actually need help. Your hand twitches, lifting a few inches off the table to signal your manager, and then it drops right back down. Your mind instantly built a case against speaking up. You tell yourself they're too busy, that you should already know the answer, and that you can just figure it out on your own like you always do. This physical hesitation is the enforcement of a rigid, unspoken rule. It dictates that you must never, under any circumstances, be a problem for someone else. To understand that rule, we have to rewind to a house that was perpetually stressed. Maybe the adults were overwhelmed, distracted, or simply inconsistent. You are 8 years old, sitting at the kitchen table, struggling with a broken toy or a difficult assignment. You look toward the doorway, hoping someone will walk in and fix it. But when an adult finally passes by, you see the exhaustion on their face. You recognize the tension in their shoulders and realize that adding your need to their plate will only make things worse. So your mouth closes. You turn back to the table, swallow your frustration, and start putting the pieces together yourself. Your extreme self-reliance is a calculated adaptation. In an unpredictable environment, the safest thing you could be was low maintenance. 7 years later, the stakes are higher. You're 15, alone in your bedroom, crushed under the weight of an academic failure or a quiet heartbreak. You open a message to your closest friend. You type out exactly how scared and overwhelmed you are, fighting every instinct that tells you to keep it hidden. But the old conditioning wins. You erase the plea, character by character, until the screen is blank again. The very next day, a classmate comes to you in tears. Instantly, your own exhaustion vanishes behind a wall of calm capability. You step right into the caretaker role, offering advice and projecting total control. You assure them that you've got everything handled. This dual nature of your armor convinces the rest of the world that you are the most reliable person in the room, while guaranteeing you will carry your heaviest burdens completely alone. Now you're an adult, sitting on the edge of the bed with the partner you deliberately chose to share your life with. They are looking at you with genuine frustration, asking why they had to find out from someone else that you've been struggling for weeks. Your immediate reflex is to look away and brush it off. You minimize the stress, desperately trying to keep them from feeling the weight you're carrying. The exact behavior that kept you safe as a child is now the wall actively blocking the intimacy and support you actually want. Which brings us back to that crowded conference room. The same deadlines are looming, and the same overload is pressing down on you. Your hand starts to lift. The familiar tightness grips your chest. The 8-year-old at the kitchen table and the 15-year-old in the dark bedroom are pulling your arm back down. But this time, you pause. You recognize the physical echo for what it is, an outdated survival tactic that kept you safe when you had no other options, not a measure of your current strength. You take a breath. You push past the nausea, lift your hand high enough for the room to see, and say the hardest words in your vocabulary. I need some help with this. Healing your nervous system doesn't happen through willpower. It happens in the quiet, terrifying moments when you extend a hand, wait for disaster, and discover that needing someone else is actually safe. If this feels familiar, subscribe to Behavioral Echoes and continue understanding your patterns.